Hey friends. Okay, so lesson 4 of our unit here on unit pricing currency exchange. This one talks about setting a price. Now, there's kind of two things we have to deal with in this particular note, but they're dealt with in the same thing. That's why we're in the same way. That's why they're together in one note. We're going to talk about discount. Okay, so how we calculate discount, and then we're also going to talk about how we add on taxes. Okay, both of them start by us trying to figure out a percentage of something. So we need to first have a sort of a quick review of percent and how to calculate it. Okay, so what does percent mean? Percent means out of 100. So when you see a percent symbol, you would take the number in front of the percent symbol and just write it as a fraction over 100. Okay. So to convert to a fraction, we're going to write the percent over 100, just like I said, and then we reduce it. Okay. In that last example, that 13 over 100, you can't reduce it any farther. 13 is actually a prime number. So there's no other numbers that we could divide 13 by except 1 and 13. And 100 isn't divisible by 13. Okay. Then if we want to convert to a decimal, we would write as a fraction and then divide the top by the bottom. Okay. It's just more proportions. One of the things I really want to help you guys feel good about is this course, 10-3, I would say 80% of it, if you know how to do proportions, you're golden, okay? You make it through this course no problem, as long as you have a really good understanding of proportions. So with proportions, we can look at it this way. Percent over 100 will equal the part over the whole, okay? And you'll see that as we go. Or sometimes kids like to look at it and say, percent over 100 equals is over of. You're looking for the words is and the word of. So for example, if I said, what is 80% of 30, okay, then we know the of portion there is the 30, and we're trying to figure out the is, okay? All right, so class example number 1, convert the following percentages to decimals. So we got 62%, that's the same as 62 over 100, and then we could divide the top and the bottom. The other way to look at it is if it's over 100 actually just means divide by 100. And when we divide by 100, all we actually do is we move our decimal place to the left 2 units. So my decimal place is here right now. It's on the other side of the 2. If I brought it to the left 2 units, it would be there now. Okay. Now remember, you can't write a number with a decimal to start, so you'd have to have a 0 in front of that decimal. Okay. So 62 divided by 100, or 0.62. Okay, same thing works with the 5.25%. I can go 5.25 divided by 100. I can also just move my decimal place back twice. Okay, so if I moved my decimal place back twice, I'd be looking at that and then that. Well, anytime there's a hole there, I put a 0. So it'd be 0.0525. Okay, 0.0525. Okay, 200%. Again, that's 200 divided by 100. That's 2. And then 15%, that'd be 15 divided by 100, or move your decimal place back twice, and we get 0.15. Okay, 0.15. Awesome. Okay. Calculate 30% of 450. Now, I'm going to go right back to that statement I had just made earlier. I said percent over 100 equals part over whole. Or if you wanted to do the is over of, that would be okay too. So 30%, that's 30 over 100, right? That's what percent means. Now, the question is my 450 the part, or is it the whole? If I'm asked for 30% of 450, 450 is the entire thing. It's the whole. So I would have 450 here. Okay, and then I don't know what this is. This is what I'm looking for. Man, it would be nice if we had already talked about a fraction equals a fraction and trying to figure out how to solve for that unknown. Hey, we have. Okay, either you can just cross multiply this, right? Or if you wanted to divide 450 by 100 and then do the same thing this way, whatever works for you, it would be totally fine. So I am going to, in my notes here, I've set up the proportion, and now I'm going to cross multiply. So that's going to give me 13,500 equals 100x. I multiplied 30 by 450, and then I multiplied 100 by the x. Now, I have to get rid of the 100 that's on the x. So I have to divide both sides by 100, and that's going to give me 135. Okay, so 30% of 450 is 135. Okay, awesome. Okay, let's try another one. 130% of 25. Same thing, 130% is 130 over 100. And then it says of 25, that means of is the total population. So it goes on the bottom. And then we're ready to do this again. We're going to multiply the 130 by 25. And we're going to multiply the 100 by x. So that's going to give me 3,250 equals 100x. And then I'll divide by 100 and get 32.5. Okay, 32.5 is my x there. Awesome. Okay, what percent is 6 out of 40? Okay, so this time I don't know the percentage. So it's x over 100, but I know 6 is the part and 40 is the total. So I'm going to say x over 100 equals 6 over 40. Friends, this is still the same setup. It's still a fraction equals a fraction. We can still solve this by cross multiplication. So we're going to go x times 40. Well, that would be 40x, and then 100 times 6 is 600. So we've got 40x equals 600. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 40, and I'll get 15. So it's 15%. 15%. Okay. What percent is 36 out of 40? Same thing, I'm going to go x over 100 because I don't know what the percent is. But now I've got 36 is my part and 40 is my whole. So x over 100 equals 36 over 40. Do my cross multiplying, that's 3600 equals 40x. Right, I just went this times this times this. Now I'm trying to get rid of the 40. I'm doing a little bit of algebra here. Trying to get rid of the 40x, I'll divide both sides by 40 to get rid of it. And I get 90%. Okay, that leaves me with 90%, and it leaves you with some questions to try. So the next thing would be on my own questions. You're going to try numbers 1 to 3. Pause me, check your answers, and then come back when you're ready, okay? Awesome. Welcome back. Next thing to talk about here is markup. Markup is the difference between the amount a retailer sells a product for, that's called the retail price, and the amount he or she paid for it, the wholesale price, okay? Let's say I was gonna start a business selling, I don't know, t-shirts, okay? If I have to pay $10 for every t-shirt, okay? It doesn't really make any sense for me to turn around and sell that t-shirt for $10, right? Because I'm not making any money. That's not a viable business plan. When a retail store sells you something, they have to sell it for more than they bought it for, otherwise they're going to lose money. Okay, so if I'm the business owner, the price I buy something for, that is called the wholesale price. Then when I turn around and sell it to my customer, that's called the retail price. So the retail price always needs to be higher than the wholesale price, okay? I'm just gonna hide my head here for a second so you can get a screenshot of that if you don't have your book, okay? All right, so a retailer needs to make a profit so they cannot sell you the product at the price they bought it for. The markup is the retailer's profit. It is determined by adding a certain percentage of the wholesale price to the wholesale price. Okay, so let's take a look at class example number 2, and hopefully that'll make a little bit more sense as we go through it together. So Melanie owns a sporting goods store. Her standard markup is 80%. She bought a mountain bike from a wholesaler at $205. Again, I'll just hide my face really quick so you can see the full question. Okay, now, first part here is what would her markup be? So I know 80% is 80% over 100, or sorry, is 80 over 100. And I want to figure out 80% of 205. So just like we were doing in the first few examples, that means 205 is my whole, so it'll go on the bottom. So I set myself up to say 80 over 100 is x over 205. Now, when I cross multiply that, 80 times 205 is 16,400. And then 100 times x is 100x. Divide both sides by 100 and I get x equals 164. Now, that is her markup. That's not, I want you to listen really carefully to this, okay? That's not what she's selling it for. She's gonna add that to the price she paid for it. So that's her profit. It's the amount of money she actually wants to make on this sale, okay? So the second part of this question is what or how much should Melanie charge her customers for the bike? Well, she had to pay $205 for it. She wants to make $164, so we have to add those two things together in order to get what she's going to sell it to the customer for. So when I add 205 and 164, I get 369. So Melanie's going to sell this bike for $369 in her store. Okay, awesome. Last example number 3. A wholesale company is selling a new video game for $52. I'm just going to hide my face here for a sec so you can see the full question. At a markup of 110%, what would the retail price be for the new video game? Okay, so you're buying it wholesale at $52. You want 110% markup. And you want to figure out what you're going to have to sell it for in order to make that 100% markup. So just like in the last example, the first thing we have to do is figure out what 110% of 52 is. Okay, so we've got 110 over 100 equals x over 52. Again, I'm going to cross multiply. So I have 110 times 52 and 100 times x. That gives me 5,720. Equals 100x. Okay, now I'll divide both sides by 100 and get 5720. So I want to upcharge my wholesale price by 5720, and that's what my retail price is going to be. Okay, so if I take 52 and add 5720 to it, that's going to give me 109.20. So my retail price will be 109.20. Okay, all right, that sets us up to try questions 4 to 7. Okay, so I want you to pause me now and you do the on my own questions 4 to 7. All right, welcome back. Now we're going to talk about discounts or sales, okay? I'm going to hide myself for a sec so you can see the full question. Everyone loves a good sale. Businesses use sale promotions to attract buyers and to sell off old stock. It is important that as consumers, we remember to consider the amount of taxes as well as the listed price to make informed decisions. Okay, so a markdown. So remember, the last couple of examples talked about a markup. Now we're talking about a markdown. The difference between the amount a retailer originally tries to sell a product for, that's called the retail price, and the sale price. This is also known as discount, everybody's favorite word. Okay, so class example number 4. I'm just going to hide myself for a sec. Jonas needs to buy a new winter jacket. He has waited for a sale, and a jacket that originally cost $249.95 is now discounted 20%. How much will the jacket cost before taxes? And then what about after the GST? So we'll talk about that. So there's a few things to talk about here, but let's just deal with the discount first. We'll deal with the taxes later. Okay, so I need to figure out what 20% of 249.95 is, right? It's going to be discounted by 20%. That's 20 over 100. The original price was 249.95. Okay, so I have to figure out what is 20% of 249.95. So 20 over 100 equals X over 249.95. I'm going to do my cross multiplication. 100 times X is 100X. And then 20 times 249.95 is 4,999. Now I'll divide by 100 and get 49.99. So that's going to be my discount, right? That's not what I'm paying. That's what I'm getting off of the sale price. Okay. So I need to subtract that. I'm going to figure out my sale price by taking the original price and subtracting what I'm getting off. So if I take 249.95 and I subtract 49.99, my total is going to be 199.96. 199.96. Okay. Awesome. Now I go to pay. I'm all excited because I'm getting a sweet deal. But of course, anytime you purchase an item, you have sales tax on it. Okay. Now in Canada, all 10 provinces have to, and the 3 territories have to pay 5% GST. Okay. Other provinces have provincial sales tax as well. I'm and you are based in Alberta. In Alberta, we just have the GST, so 5% has to get added on. Well, it's the exact same thing we did with discount. We figured out a percent and we subtracted it. The difference with tax is we figure out the percent, but now we'll add it to the total. Okay, so we need to figure out what 5% of 199.96 is. So 5% is 5 over 100. And then I set that equal to X over 199.96. I'm going to do my cross multiplication magic. 100 times X is 100X. And 5 times 199.96 is 999.80. Divide both sides by 100. Remember that we're talking money, so we do have to round to 2 decimal places. In this instance, that rounding to 2 decimal places actually gave me $10. Okay, so I have $10 GST that I need to pay on top of the sale price. So the total price will be my $199.96 plus the $10 tax. So in total, I will pay $209.96 for my jacket. Okay, now this was the first time we've done kind of what I would call a loaded question. There was a lot going on. The great thing about seeing this on video, go back a minute and go through this example one more time. Okay, make sure you see all the pieces and how all the pieces fit. Then when you're feeling comfortable with this example, you've got some on my owns to try. Okay, so the next kind of set would be on my own questions 8 to 13. And now I want you to pause the video, try those questions, make sure you're checking your answer in the back of the lesson, and then come back when you're ready, okay? All right, awesome. So now we're going to talk about percent markup and percent markdown. Percent markup, here's the definition. The markup amount compared to the wholesale price written as a percent. Okay, so a reminder, when we write things as a percent, we can do part over whole equals percent over 100. The other way to look at that in this context would be it's the markup over the wholesale price. Okay, the markup over the wholesale price. So if we're trying to figure out this percent, we're going to take the markup, we're going to divide by the wholesale price, and then we just multiply by that 100, and that's going to give us the percent that we're looking for. Okay. So let's try an example together. Class example number 5. Finn sells winter boots. If Finn paid their supplier, wow, that was hard to say, if Finn paid their supplier $70 for a pair of boots, I'm going to hide myself for just 1 sec so you can see the question. And then they sold them for $133. What was the percent markup? All right. So remember, we said that we need to do the markup divided by the wholesale price. So, right, and take it back here just so you can see markup divided by the wholesale price. Okay. Okay, so the markup, well, if I bought it for 70 and I sold it for 133, the markup would be whatever 133 minus 70 is. Okay, so 133 minus 70, and then I have to times that by 100, and that will give me my percentage. And we find out that that's a 90% markup. Okay, a 90% markup. Awesome. Now let's just pause on the markup question for a sec. You try questions 14 and 15. Make sure you're comfortable with that before we go to percent markdown. Okay, pause me, try them, and then come back when you're ready. All right, welcome back, my friends. Percent markdown, this is also known as the discount rate. It's the exact same thing, except we're decreasing the price instead of increasing the price. So it's the discount amount compared to the retail price written as a percent. So again, we've got part over whole equals percent over 100. This time it'll be discount over the regular price. Okay, discount over the regular price equals the percent over the 100. But now we'll just multiply both sides by 100 so that we can essentially get that percent by itself. Okay. All right, are you ready to try one? We got this, we got this. Okay, class example number 6. What is the percentage markdown if a $68 item sells for 51? Okay, so 68 is our original price, right? Remember, if we go back to here, it's the discount over the regular price. Okay, so 68 is our regular price. The discount would be whatever 68 minus 51 is. Okay, so we'll go 68 minus 51, and then we'll divide it by the original price. And then we multiply that by the 100. Okay, that gives us a 25% discount. 25% discount. Okay. All right, awesome. Let's try class example number 7 together. Tina owns a clothing store and is advertising buy 2, get the third half price on all sweaters. What is the discount rate as a percent? Lots of stores do this to try and get you to buy multiple things, right? Maybe they say buy 2, get 1 free. This one says buy 2, get the third half price. Maybe it's buy 2, get 25% off. There's lots of different ways to do it, but it's all an encouragement for you to buy more than one thing. Okay, so let's just play around with this and see what we can come up with. The question says, what is the discount rate as a percent? I'll hide myself here just so you see the full question. Okay, so let's just put a number on it for now so that we can kind of play with the numbers. Let's say that the sweaters cost $10 each. Okay, that would mean 3 sweaters cost $30. That would be the regular price of 3 sweaters. Now, with the deal, the third sweater would be $5 off. So that means actually if I was getting the deal, 3 sweaters would cost me $25, not $30, right? Because I got $5 off that third one. Okay, that means the discount is $5 over the regular price of $30 because we have to buy 3 sweaters. That would be the regular price, $30. Okay, so we're going to go 5 over 30 and then times that by 100. That gives me a 16.7% discount. All right, so now we have 4 more on your owns to try. Okay, number 16 to 20. And then you will see that that leaves us at the end of lesson 4. So when you have finished number 16 to 20, you will be all done up to page 26. This lesson was pages 16 to page 26. And so that will finish up lesson 4 for you. Okay. As always, give yourself time, Make sure you're doing the questions, trying to do all the communication in the steps, and making sure you ask me questions when they arise. That's what I'm here for. You guys got this. I'll see you soon.